So the question is, when is altcoin season gonna start? Many of us have been waiting for a long time. If you look at the biggest alt of them all, Ethereum, it's just been bleeding value over the past year. And if you look at alts generally, well, in the last cycle, there was times when it was just pumping like crazy, and there was a period of a good few months when you almost couldn't fail to make money. It was really just crazy. And this year, that kind of only happened around the turn of the year, when after Trump got confirmed, and it was very limited. People got all giddy, and people thought this is it, alts are back, and it was very short-lived, and all those gains in that period have slowly bled away. So yeah, it really sucked. It kind of ended before it really got started. It was like the car was roaring away and it ran out of gas. So when's it going to start? When's altcoin season going to start? Well, as I mentioned, or what happened in the previous cycles, is normally what happens is Bitcoin stops the pump, and then the money rolls over into big alts like Ethereum, and then eventually the money rolls out of there and into smaller alts. So when is it going to roll into the biggest alts, including Ethereum, and then eventually trickle down into the smaller ones? Well, it's difficult to say. One thing I will say is, if you look at Ethereum right now, I think most people would say it's good value. In fact, now remember, nothing in this video is financial advice, but I can understand if people were to say that Ethereum has great value right now, and I would also understand if people were to say Bitcoin's kind of run out of steam. It might not go to 250k or even a million like some crazy people were saying it was going to go to this cycle. Even a conservative opinion would have said a few months ago that Bitcoin's probably, might only top out at 150. Well, honestly, it's kind of looking like, I don't know, maybe we reached ATH already for this cycle. Maybe it's just different macroeconomic circumstances, and it's just not going to pump as much this cycle as it did in previous cycles. Not saying in the next cycle, in another 4 years, it could go to the, could really shoot for the moon. Who knows? But nobody knows. But we don't have many data points to work with in terms of previous cycles where there was a significant amount of people. And not saying it will never pump again, but it could be that this particular cycle is going to be really subdued. So I'm not even convinced that we haven't already broken out this cycle. It could be that 110 is that's it. That was the top. Now, if you say that about Bitcoin, and if you say that ETH is tremendously undervalued, it could be that it could be actually that the right way to go is to just load up on ETH and forget about Bitcoin. That maybe ETH has got more upside potential, not in the next few weeks, but maybe months to the next few years. Perhaps it has the most upside potential. Very, very difficult to start. I certainly think that ETH doesn't have much more in the way of downside potential. I mean, maybe it'll go down another 20%. I can't see it going down much more than that. It's still the top altcoin of them all. If you look at all the smart contract chains out there, all this talk about Cardano making a comeback, all this talk about Solana because of, it's handled all these meme coins, it's finally grown up. All this talk about Sui, the up and coming new coin that's, I don't know much about the technicals behind it, but people are saying, this is ex-Facebook, ex-Meta engineers have created this coin, and it's really amazing, and all this. Well, it's a lot of speculation and hype. I mean, it hasn't really built that much yet. If you go to DeFi Llama, right, and there's a page on there that shows all the different things that each coin does. I think it's called comparison or something, and you'll still see that by far, even though it's not as sexy anymore. You don't hear as much about it anymore, and maybe we're starting to see a little bit of infighting around the direction of ETH. It still by far is the best coin out there. Out of all the alts, it's the best one. It does the most things, has the most functionality, it has the most development activity. It still is the best alt out there. So it's radically, I can't see it dropping much more, because it's already gone back to other previous lows, or approaching them. I just can't see it really going down much more, and arguably it's a good buy. But when is it going to start? I mean, the thing is right about crypto is it never really it can sometimes just hang around a particular range for even a low number of months, but eventually something happens. It either breaks up or it breaks down. So if ETH is getting towards this particularly special area, which is probably going to be a minimum for it, and you would expect it to eventually one day bounce up off that. I mean, potentially it could go down, but I don't think most people think that's going to happen. The question is, when is that going to happen? Look, I don't know for sure, but I have been following Ben Cowan, who is very popular on YouTube, and he didn't time the last Bitcoin top in the last cycle, but he did time the Ethereum top. And I agree with him when he says, look, these are different conditions right now, and for altcoin season to start, we probably need quantitative easing to start to happen. We need the Fed to flip, and at the moment, that's just not happening. So I agree with that. I don't think it will really change until that happens, and I don't know. It could change tomorrow. Altcoin season could start tomorrow, but it's looking like it's probably just gonna continue slow bleeding, or if not, just hanging tight in a range, neither going up nor going down. Maybe later in the year it will happen, but who knows? Because the longer we go on, then the closer we get to the end of this cycle, and it relies to some degree on the cycle in order for it to happen. So I don't know if altcoin season is going to happen. I still think Ethereum is a great bet to hold for the long term, but are we going to get that pump from Ethereum? Are we going to get that massive pump from the smaller alts this cycle? I don't know. I really don't know. No one has a crystal ball, and you're definitely safer just holding Bitcoin right now, or holding nothing, just staying out of the market. I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but Bitcoin could have topped already potentially, and who knows what's going to happen with it. This cycle could be a shorter one. It could be over prematurely, and then we may have to wait a while for the next cycle to start, whether it's Bitcoin, big alts, or small alts. So I just don't know, but I'd definitely say that ETH looks like good value right now, if you're prepared to hold it for possibly up to a number of years. We'll just have to wait and see. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below.